screwing around and start!
Pointy Star View here with the deck profile. It's a little late because it was my mother's birthday, but here's the profile nonetheless. Because Christmas is right around the corner and it is in about 2 or 3 days, we are going to do the Christmas Party deck profile update. I originally did this deck as my 100 subscriber special thing. I kind of modified it completely from its old build because of how it is. It's just an interesting deck. You won't win every single game, but it's a lot of more fun around the gimmicks and such, and it's just really fun to try and combine these decks and just see what happens. So without further ado, we'll start. Starting off with the mandatory, the 4 tokens, because I love this show, and the Pudding Sus token. And we're going to start into the actual profile. Starting off this profile, we have 3 copies of Madolche Magileine. This is part Madolche deck, so the 3 Magilines are just for your Madolche engine. Because this deck is a little more Madolche heavy, we are focusing a lot more on the Madolches. And summoning Magiline is really good because it adds the hand presence, which is a really key gimmick to how this deck works. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Madolche Anjelly, just because this is a 1-card play, allowing you to take some of your cards that you have, take a huge advantage of using 1 card to go off, and then use your other monsters to be able to go off with different ways. 3 Hootcake. If you want to, because of how this deck works, you can drop this card down to 2. It's just really interesting. This is just good because you want to keep the monster lineup, and you will almost always have targets to banish, so this card will almost never be dead. 1 Kitty, because 2 is too many. You don't really need that many super heavy combo-based cards in this deck, because it's just supposed to work every card with other cards. And in this deck, we are running 3 Messengelato. I was going to do 2, but it's just, the 3 works a lot better with how this deck works. That is the Madolche portion. I'll just pull that off over here. Moving on to the second part of the deck, we are carrying 3 wind-up rabbits, because for Christmas there are treats and there are toys, and this is a mix between the 2 of them. Rabbit is kind of the main card. You want to get this out as soon as possible. What Rabbit does for you is just keeps a level 3 on board. It banishes itself, you can use plays. Leviair becomes a very good card for this deck with how it works, and it's really, really nice to run that card. The other one that we're running 3 of is 3 copies of Shark, just because Shark special summons itself at the summon of a wind-up. So you can summon any of these and summon this. You can summon one of these, summon another, and it is really nice. We are also running 2 copies of Rat. We don't need 3 because the wind-up engine is not that much, but running 2 is really good because it recurs cards back, it lets you make some really silly combos, and it lets you go off in ways that you couldn't normally. And the last wind-up we're playing is 1 copy of Warrior. The reason why is we can go 2 level 3s, such as the 2 level 3 Madolches, or 2 Rats, or just any kind of level 3s. Summon a Warrior, and then trigger a Shark summon off of this. So if you have a Kitty and a Hootcake, but you have no targets, you can go Kitty, Hootcake, Invoker, Special Hem, Special Shark from your hand. And it would just allow you to make a rank 5 out of nowhere, or just another rank 4, depending on what you need at the time. That is the wind-up portion. Those are all the monsters. Moving on to spells, we are running 2 copies of Chateau and a Ticket just because it's the perfect lineup. I was considering going down to 1 Chateau, but you really do like having the second one, even if this isn't as heavy and just pure Madolches, with having the silly little wind-up gimmick. The only other card we're running 3 of, I believe, in the spell lineup is 3 MST, just because MST, it helps fight things, and this deck is sort of combo-oriented, so running the 3 MST really does help. In this current version, I'm running 2 copies of Double Summon. To be completely honest, I would drop this down to 1 and get a second Palooza. I just couldn't find a second Palooza, so I've just been playing Double Summon at 2. It's been working a lot just because it's a silly little gimmick. The deck allows you to explode once and explode a second time, 1 with each archetype. The reason why Palooza is better for this is simply because it lets you use all the Madolches in your hand and lets you play wind-ups, and then Madolchepalooza, play Madolches, or do it vice versa, Madolches and then play windups. Double Summon does the exact same thing. It just makes it so you have to work a little bit more with what you have, such as Anjelly with Double Summon is a really, really OTK kind of thing, so it really helps. For one-offs, we're running 1 Gold Sarc, because banish the card that we need at the time, or anything else. 1 Raigeki, just blowing up cards, and the other card we're running is... This should be a Snatch Steal. I was going to pick one up today, but I totally was busy for my mother's birthday, so I just have a Mind Control in here. Snatch Steal is a really good card. I honestly think it's great in almost any deck. So what I've been doing is making 41 card decks, because I want to show that this card is a card you can just throw in. So this deck is 41 cards. If you really do want to remove something, try removing a Messengelato or something. But at 41 cards, this card is just amazing. It's phenomenal. You win a lot of duels just because of the card Snatch Steal. So that is a card definitely worth just throwing in to make your deck 41 cards. 1 Palooza, as I was saying earlier, I would strongly suggest 2 just because it works better for the deck. Either one, it does work, and it's okay if you don't have the second one, but I've just personally been finding the 1 is okay, and I'd rather have 2. But Once again, it's all completely based off of your own playstyle. For attack negation, we have 2D Prison and a Mirror Force. Mirror Force is getting better and better as the days go on. Just being able to flip Mirror Force and blow up a whole field is great. And yes, your opponent can get effects, but this deck does a really good job of extra deck control, and you can make cards to help get around those effects. So that is those. We are running for Summon Negation, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Compulse, 1 Torrential Tribute, and a Solemn Warning. Just as a staple 4 that I like to keep in decks that are good. It is a really good back route. You have the wind-up plays and the Madolche plays and everything, so this will not hurt you, especially the Torrential, just being able to clear boards, and that is something that is surprisingly getting good again. For extra deck, starting off, we do have the 2 copies of the Queen, just because Madolche portion does it. Wind-ups help fuel into the Queen because you can get the other plays and other combo pieces to help get her out. So that is the Queen portion. 1 Leviair and 1 Invoker. I do like 2 Leviair in the deck, but it's just, you don't need the second one. You don't make it as much as you think you would. That's because Invoker does a really good job since you do have 4 different targets. And the way that with the double summons and the Palooza, it's just, you are not going to have that many dead extra cards in your hand, so you only need 1 of each. For other rank 3s, we are running 1 Alucard just because back row, and just summoning Alucard baits everything. Your opponent is not going to be able to attack or bottomless anything else, because every time you summon him, he's going to get bottomless or anything. They're going to waste their traps on him, just so you don't pop him. And 1 Leviair, just because I prefer Leviair to cards like Nante in this deck. It's just, Leviair is a silly simple beater with a free detach, which is just really helpful in decks like this. So those are the rank 3s and the Queen. Moving on to 4s. 1 Blackship, 1 Cowboy. I always like to put these 2 together just because they work together. They both burn damage. This sends, this does damage and attacks without targeting. So they're really good together. Every time I take out Cowboy from a deck like this, I always lose a duel because I don't have the Cowboy. So Abyss Dweller, this card is really nice because Abyss Dweller plus Raigeki or Abyss Dweller plus Torrential. You can chain Abyss Dweller's effect to anything, and then they will go so minus because you blow up so many cards and they lose so many effects, and it's really good. So Abyss Dweller is really good in this kind of format, especially in a deck that does nothing but summon XYZs and such. Next we have an Arc and a Castel. Because we have Queen, we don't need 2 Castel in here, so 1 Arc, 1 Castel works a lot. The deck just, it really thrives off of being able to summon just any card that they need. And the last 2 rank 4s we have is 1 Heartlandraco, because 2000 to the face is great, and they can't target you because you do have some continuous and face-up spells. And Ragna's here to help against Qliphort. The deck has some issues because Qliphort will just wreck you if they get their OTK, but if they mess up, or if you have the right field presence, or if you have Palooza to flip up and summon cards to protect you, this card is really nice. So it helps you come back from situations that you couldn't normally come back from. And the only rank 5s we are playing in here is 1 Tiarus, because Tiarus does a really good job of, it helps you when you're in tough situations. It's a little harder to make rank 5s in here because we only have the 3 Shark and the 1 Warrior, but it's good because this card can help you buy some time. And the last card is Focusaurus, just because it gets rid of a monster and does extra damage, which can potentially be that extra damage you get for game. So that is the deck. It is at 41 cards, as I said. I'm trying to do a 41 card deck, and any deck that can run the card, just because the Snatch Steal, because it is such a good card. I honestly believe any deck can play it and add their deck to 1 more card without having any kind of consistency issue at all. And you don't have to do it. As I said, if you don't want to run it, just take out 1 Messengelato if you feel that is unnecessary. 2 Messengelato is good when you have the 2 Palooza, just because it lets you search for it. The second double summon is okay. And it's just, the deck works silly. It's a fun little deck. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. If you want me to profile something, leave that down there. I have a couple decks in line to be profiled sooner. I just figured I'd do this deck instead of doing the Ghostricks this week because I just really find it fun. So, thanks for watching, and as always, have a wonderful day.